What's next? That's been a question that's been in my mind for the last 3 to 4 months, and I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Recently, I crossed my 6 months working at this company. It's going to be seven now, but we're going to say six. And flying the Embraer 155, it's been one of the best experiences of my career and one of the best opportunities of a lifetime. I think about my time in flight school and how I felt like I would never make it. The feelings of imposter syndrome flooding my mind. Whenever I felt like I passed the check right, it felt like maybe I wasn't ready, even though I passed. So I was always confused on these feelings until I found out that it was imposter syndrome. Eventually, through some affirmations and some praying, I was able to get over that. I still have some thoughts about it every so often. To now flying the Embraer 145 and realizing that it wasn't all for nothing. All the failed check rides and lessons where all I did was make mistakes, and it seemed like I would never make it past those humps. It all came together for this very moment. I never thought I would be here, and I thank the Lord every day for this opportunity. Whenever I speak to other pilots who fly or who also fly jets, they always complain that they could never fly this aircraft because there's no auto throttle. As someone who has never flown an aircraft with an auto throttle, I cannot relate because for all of my training, I was in control of the airplane's thrust. So an auto throttle seems very advanced, and I feel like I wouldn't know what to do with it. Even when I was back in training at CAE in Dallas, there were a few older guys, and I spoke about that in my previous video, and they flew Airbuses and Boeings and all types of aircraft, and they struggled with the Embraer 145. They struggled tremendously because there was no automation. The only automation was just autopilot. There was no auto throttle. There was no auto trim. They they hated it. And for me, I loved it because it was learning something new. Even though this aircraft is almost 30 years old, or is 30 years old, they they couldn't get it. I love flying this airplane and it feels real easy to fly. I've heard some pilots call it the Fisher Price version of a jet, mainly because of how easy and simple it is to operate. A commercial pilot with 250 hours can operate this airplane. Essentially, I had 600 hours when I got the type rating on this jet. So I wasn't too far from 250 hours and it's real simple to operate. My last 6 months flying this jet, I have met and spoken with numerous amounts of people, whether that be passengers, farm members, or just random people I have met in public spaces. They all ask me the same question once they know what I do or they see me in uniform. They always ask, what's next? When talking to these individuals, I always bring up that I don't have any future plans that are set forth in this current moment. I also didn't even know that I would even be in this position flying an Embraer 145 with this current company. So I'm just winging it at this point. I also mentioned that I only have been in the job for 6 months and I've only been a career pilot for a little over a year. So I haven't actually thought as far as what is my end goal. It does not bother me as much because I know that God got me. And I know that I've made it so far and that this career can take you anywhere. In 2019, I made a 5 year plan, and that plan actually came to fruition literally at the end of the 5 years. Since then, I've been happy where I am. Although I do think of where I can end up or where I could go. This job can take you anywhere in the world, as I mentioned, so it is difficult to say where exactly I would want to be and what I want to fly. As a pilot, I'm not too picky on which aircraft I want to fly. I'm in it for the love of the game, truly. If I got the opportunity to fly a 737, awesome. If I got the opportunity to fly an Airbus 319, great. If I got to fly a Piaggio Avanti, awesome. I mentioned that last one because that's actually an aircraft I find really interesting. And if I really got the opportunity to fly that airplane, I would definitely take it. And I was able to see one up close when I flew with the charter company because one typically flew in and out of Nassau very often. And I would sometimes coming early for pre-flight just to admire the airplane. But I never got the chance to speak with the pilots because they just were not, we never had the same time schedule. But anyway, continuing on, a lot of pilots, aspiring pilots included, will tell me that they want to be a captain of a 777, 737, or even an Airbus series. Or and they would say they want to be a Delta, JetBlue, American, or some airline they would mention they want to be the captain of a certain jet of that airliner. And I'm not upset with them. That's good. They know what they want to do. That's great. For me, I just knew I wanted to fly airplanes, and I never had a specific target aircraft that I wanted to be on. And does that make me easy to please? No. I'm just a pilot and I like flying no matter the aircraft. I have never even imagined that I would be flying the Embraer 145, and yet I'm so happy and grateful for this opportunity. But the truth is, I have no idea where I should take my talents to next. It seems even premature to even thinking about something like this, considering I only have about 850 hours total. Most places want you to have an ATP, which requires you to have 1,500 hours or more. And who knows, when I reach those minimums, then it's time to think about that. However, I have written down a list of places to send a resume to when the time comes, but I'm also not in a rush. I just feel as though in society, people always want to know what's next, and it kind of ruins the now, it ruins the present. Am I curious about what's next? I am. I am very curious, but I also have spent countless hours thinking about the future and what it may hold. And I feel as though that has robbed me of being present because if I'm always thinking about what's next, I can never truly enjoy the now. The now is all we ever have in life. So, my point here is why does it seem like no one is just happy for you where you're at? Even though they might be little innocent questions, it makes me think. I think deeper into that question. Like, you're asking me what's next because maybe this isn't enough for you, or you're just curious. But at the same time, I think it stems from a point of people are always trying to figure out what to do next. They always want a next step, something to do next, an extra job lined up, and a next milestone ahead. And it's good to have these career goals, and it's good to have goals in general. But some people are asking me, what's my 5 year plan? What's my 10-year plan? And I honestly don't know that. I haven't written anything, I haven't thought about anything. And that time isn't even guaranteed on this earth. So I mean, it seems premature to be even thinking about that. Do I wonder about it? Quite often. I think about it a lot, but I always come to a dead end because I'm not sure what to do about that. You know? It feels like I've worked so hard to get where I am, and people are like, okay, cool, but what's next? And instead of saying, hey, good job, congratulations, you made it somewhere, and just leaving it at that. It almost sounds like they're not they're like, okay, you made it this far, but they're not pleased. It's like, I'm not here to please anyone. And I know some people are proud of me, and I don't do it for them. I do it all for myself. But shout out to the people who I meet and they're just excited for me about where I am. And the only thing they do is that they wish me further blessings in my career. I've had a lady earlier this week actually tell me, um, when I got off the flight, she was like, oh, you're the pilot. I'm like, yes, mom. And she's just like, wow, may the Lord continue to bless you and further guide you in your career. And, I love that because she's not asking me what's next. She's just asking me, hey, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Life opportunities open up in random places at any moment. So just take it. So she's just wishing me well and that hoping that I continue to strive and to go further, which is good. That's good. I appreciate a sentiment like that. And I'm not angry with anyone or upset with anyone who asks me this question. I'm just thinking out loud for a second. I just feel as though it's the society we live in. Most people live in the future and no one's really living in the present. Everyone's always planning and trying to live years in the future. And it's not even guaranteed. So I feel as though it doesn't make sense to really, it's good to plan for it, but at the same time, there needs to be a good balance between living in the present and also planning for the future because the present is all you ever have. And it's just maybe I feel like maybe I feel this way because I haven't thought about the next 4 to 8 years of my life and I'm just projecting. Who knows? But why should I have that part of my life figured out if there's honestly no need? I'm happy where I'm at. Do I want to move further in my career? Yes, but I also understand that it will take time and that an opportunity will come. Aviation is a career that can take you anywhere, and the opportunity can appear at any moment. If you know people, if you don't know people, something will pop up at some point. You just have to keep your eyes open and be open to that experience. The opportunity to fly the Embraer 145, it was basically a phone call on a random Monday that I received. And I'm forever grateful that I picked up the phone and I spoke with the people. It was honestly I'm so happy for this and I tell people every day I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to fly. I'm happy to fly this jet. It's a great experience. There's no downsides of it. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on this video. This was a flight from Nassau to Bimini. I realized I hadn't introduced that in the beginning, but we went from Nassau to Bimini, flying at about, I think, 16,000 feet. That's typically how high we fly on this route. Yeah. Um, Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment, ask me any questions or anything you want to know. Thank you.